Bring it, bitch.
Hello.
And we are live. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
How are we all?
Good.
All right. So
Good for
tonight, yeah, it is. It's a bit warm, isn't it?
It is very
I'm joined
warm.
by a few of the usual suspects tonight, who all need no introduction.
Yeah,
Where are they?
Now, hang on 1 second, because I've just done something really silly, and I had the live stream playing in the background, so I got myself on 10-second delay. That was really good. So I'm just going to do a really quick intro. So we've got Jen from Jen's Little Corner. How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. I'm awesome. I'm hot.
It's been ages since we've done a stream.
Oh,
Damn
it's
straight
so
you are hot.
long.
I know. It's kind of like becoming a bit of a habit.
It's a bit like
People are
Marrow
gonna start
Snake.
talking.
It's so long.
Well, that's it. I think there was a few comments on Twitter about that before too, but we won't go there.
Why not?
We've got,
Marrow's got a big snake.
well,
Yeah, baby.
because we're talking about other snakes that could be bigger. So, we've got to keep that on the quiet. So, Jen, you had a big celebration last night. 300
Yes.
subs. It was a good party.
It was so much fun. You almost got all the way through. You only missed out the last hour, Chris.
It was 2 hours.
I don't know.
I was watching.
Was it? Did he
Yeah,
leave
I
up?
think it was
Did he have
about
2 hours
3 in
left?
the
Oh, yeah,
morning.
we did go for 4 hours.
It's
Yeah.
like- Yeah, it was a long stream. It was
It
half
was
my
a long
workday.
stream. We went really late, but it was great because such a variety of different people came on, and to have
It was
Bull
a
join
real
in
variety
was
show.
brilliant. Yeah, it was just a really good stream.
So now you're at 333. So you're half the devil, I think I saw.
I'm not at
Is that right?
333. I want to get to 333.
Oh, I see.
I think I'm at the same point I was last night.
316 or
37. I think I'm actually at 317 again.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, which is I got to 317 last night, lost 2 by this morning, and got 2 back again at some point today. So
Nice.
excellent.
Nice. That
yeah,
what you
YouTube
want?
is weird. I'm betting I didn't lose any, and YouTube just screwed up the counter or something.
Well, I actually lost one.
YouTube does amazing things.
Oh, it is. It's so weird, but that's the way it is.
Okay, I have a story about me and YouTube randomly just getting rid of subs. Okay, I got to 502 subscribers, and then all of a sudden I was like, hooray. And that week, the other 2 of the unholy bitches, so Ex-Cult Baby and Sarah, Unholy Sarah, they got to both got to 700. So I was like, okay, cool, awesome. So I'm not letting the team down. I got to 500, and then so I got to 502 from 493, and then the next day I wake up and I'm like, why am I 493? And sometimes it can take a while for certain things to balance their way out, but no, I stayed in 493. So I hit 500, lost exactly the same number of subs that I gained, and then had to work my way back up to 500. So we did a stream of 700, 700, and 500, and 500 between the 3 of us as a celebration. God damn it.
You might have done quite a few streams like that. Was that the one that Paul jumped into? No, that was your 250, wasn't it?
My 250,
right.
yeah.
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 Yeah. So, and then of course
So
you end up on Paul's show, and all the records got broken.
Oh, actually, no, it was Sarah that got the record. I think she got 700 out of her collaboration with Prophet of Zod.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
she went
doubled.
from being the lowest of all of you to being the top, didn't she?
Yeah, she doubled in the space of a week. She doubled her subscriber count.
That was just crazy. It's
yeah.
awesome. So proud of you lot.
Yeah, no, I'm
get
so
there
proud of her.
So, Nervardia, tell us what's going on in your world this week.
My world this week, I actually last night I filmed a short film, and I was going to edit it today, but I looked at my kitchen and went, ew. So I cleaned instead, and so hopefully this should be a quick edit because it's only a short video responding to a tweet by the ever lovely Laurie Alexander.
Oh,
And
yes, I know the one you're talking about.
there was the morbid one. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
There's been a few
she's
recently.
such a lovely person.
She's gorgeous.
Oh.
Anyway, so that one should be a nice quick one. Also, I have got a few things that will hopefully make my videos better in the mail today as well. So we'll see if people can see how much better it will work, if it does work overall. So yeah, that was pretty exciting.
It's always exciting.
And how's Lucius?
Lucius, he's good. I can't show you him tonight because he's eaten and I don't want him to vomit.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's probably not what we want. And Sam, what's happening with Vagrant Sam? Who has a seriously under sub channel and is putting out some great content. So
yeah, go
haven't
sub.
already gone
Go
sub
sub.
to Sam. Like, seriously,
Oh.
it's good content.
I'm actually really happy that One Ring got to 50 last night because he would keep having sort of these self-depreciating tweets about how I was going to beat him to 50, and he wanted to declare a race. So I'm glad he got to 50 first.
Oh, nice.
What are you
He's
at now,
lovely.
Sam?
42, I think.
So,
Hang on.
any chance, guys, we can get Sam to 50 tonight?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I think look, YouTube's one of those things. Like you got to put the work in, and something you'll click at some point, and it only gets faster over time. So
the first 100 is probably the hardest, and at least the first 1,000 is the hardest.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm still like I've got the breathing space at the moment where I can play with my channel, and there's not too
Even
many
the
people
first
that are gonna
250 actually
fall
is quite hard.
Well, it's all hard work, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
Like, it's not that easy.
actually it is. It is all hard work the whole way through.
But worth it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like you come.
Well, I
into
think
this
it's
brain-
worth making the content for the content's sake more so than the views.
Yeah,
that's
and that.
right.
I mean, we all love it. We love having new subs and everything like that. But I actually quite enjoy making the content.
And that's it. Like if you didn't like doing it,
So-
you shouldn't do YouTube. And really, like if you don't want to do it for its own sake, then it's probably going to be a pretty tough grind. So,
Yeah.
But hopefully getting another video out this week. I'm probably going to do some Twitter stuff because there's been a few Twitter interactions I've had, which I thought would be interesting to put in videos. And it's a different format from anything else I've done in the past. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, it is my last week at work, and then I've got some time off. So I'm going to try and get a lot of prep work in for 2020. So if all these friends and family don't keep asking to hang out. Time off. So it's what happens after you've gotten your university education and you've settled into a job where you can really slack off and still get the goals in. It's a lot of prep work goes into it, but eventually maybe. Well, actually, no, you're going to get a real job as a microbiologist and scientist, aren't you?
Fingers crossed, but I'm still working with people with disabilities. So yeah, I just like time off. What's that? It's a great job. I'm not complaining. I love my job. And it gives you a really good excuse not to go to family Christmas.
Oh God, I need
because you're like, oh, I'm working. I'm sorry, I'm working. I can't do it.
My partner and I always look at trying to figure out where we can go on holiday over Christmas, just to avoid. None of my family are watching out, but just to avoid the family. So.
Yeah.
It's a good 43 now, Sam.
Hey.
There we go.
Hey.
Thank you.
At this rate, you'll have 100 by the end of the stream. You'll be right.
Yeah.
Getting back
also,
to your
can
tweet, Marrow.
Yeah.
Do you reckon she's got Stockholm syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my thought on her too.
Also, I would like to do a bit of an update on my thing for Notcha. If my computer would actually load the thing, which it's
damn it, Mara's going to have to spend all the money on her own computer now.
There was a few extra added there today, I saw. So.
Sorry, Notcha, it's going to be the cheesecake all over again.
Yeah, actually,
the
Shannon.
No, Jen.
Chris,
it's going to be
You banned that topic, didn't you?
We're not allowed to say the C word, otherwise
what cheesecakes?
That's the one.
What cunt? Oh, cheesecake. Okay, so he is on $376.22. So thank you everyone who has done it so far. And my favorite comment so far is a donation from Shannon, $5, and her comment is "Make more videos, jerk," which I'm like, I love you. So if everyone could consider perhaps potentially doing the thing with the donation of the money.
Well, do you want to chuck the link in the chat?
It's being thrown at.
Oh.
Nope, I'm still here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we need to raise money for a second computer, or?
I think my computer's trying to do background stuff in the background.
I think she needs to raise some money for a better internet connection.
No, fuck that. No,
All
it's
right,
not
so-
my internet. It's my computer. It's just doing shit in the background.
It's the
It's going,
user.
Well, you said it. Yeah. So tonight, I'm going to have a chat to you guys about. There's a lot of butthurt Christians out there.
There's always butthurt
yes,
Christians out
and
there.
yes,
You're going
I
to be
did,
more
I did use that
specific.
intentionally. So there's a Netflix film or TV show that's come out called The First Temptation of Christ, which depicts Jesus as a gay man. So what I'm going to do is a comedy. I'm just going to play a bit of the trailer for you guys. Have you guys seen the trailer yet?
I haven't yet.
I watched it, but I didn't read the subtitles. But I got the, yeah. It looked
Also,
pretty
it's
good.
not even in English.
No. It's in
No,
French, I think.
no.
It's in Portuguese, isn't it?
Oh, Portuguese.
Portuguese.
I'm really
Right,
bad with
so-
those languages.
I'll see if I can
Alright.
understand it with my Spanish.
Ah, well, okay. Well, then no peeking.
Hola.
Hola,
¿Cómo
¿cómo estás? ¿Puedes hablar español también?
That's all I got.
All right, here we
See?
go.
Essa deve estar caidíssima. Deve dar um fracasso assim.
A gente entra que fecha surpresa, não pode atrasar, vambora.
Eita.
Filho!
Aula,
Ei,
tudo bem? Não é nada.
Oi.
Sai.
Quem é? Vai apresentar seu amigo?
O que é quem? Todo descabelado. Você
Ô,
tá indo
filho,
embora.
vai ser Orlando da onde?
Do deserto, pai.
Não,
Que
não.
graça, era meia sabata.
Não,
Ih, Deus é muito bom. Criou o mundo em 7 dias e um tempo depois apagou as suas crias.
Oh, brilliant.
So there we go.
I love it.
And that's what they're getting shitty about.
Yeah, they're all getting very upset because apparently it's blasphemous. It's poking fun at their precious religion, and so I guess I just wanted to have a chat about it and see, are they right? You know, is it wrong to poke fun at their religion? And
Of course,
why
it is.
is
Yes.
why is this wrong?
No.
That Israel Folau is okay. So I guess I just wanted to have a bit of a chat and see what everyone thought. So what do we think? Who wants to watch it for a start?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to catch a couple of them now.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's out. yet.
Umbero wants to talk.
No, I'm just saying I want to watch it too.
Well,
I
the ironic thing
absolutely do.
is, if had the Christians have not jumped up and down, and they've actually got 1 million signatures to get rid of this. Now, had they not
wow.
jumped up and down, I never would have heard of it.
Same.
Because the
Yeah.
odds of me watching a Brazilian comedy about Jesus is probably none and none normally. But I'm absolutely watching this now. So, yeah, do you think that they've realised that they're actually doing the promotion for the show?
Now you're saying they, but I'm gonna name call Pastor Greg Locke, who I found out about. It was his tweet that got shared through everything, where it's like, oh shit, that looks interesting.
Yes. No, I love.
Given
I love
the way that
whole-
Greg Locke goes on about certain things, do you think he's possibly compensating for his own feelings?
Lack of evidence. Oh, sorry. No,
I think Pastor Greg Locke just does what he does because it gets him attention.
Yeah.
I think he's just an attention whore. And frankly, I'm happy to give him attention because he's just so much fun to fuck with.
he is a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
no, Mary.
He is. It's so much fun.
Who was the there was the American preacher, and he used to I can't think of his name. I can picture him. He was in the God Delusion video. He's the one who went off at Dawkins. He was always anti-gay this, anti-gay that, and then he got caught doing meth with gay prostitutes. Is anyone? I'm stuck on his name.
Yeah,
I mean, which preacher has been caught in that situation? Like, there's a
this guy was like
most of them.
The American evangelicals, and
you're not narrowing it down. You're making it worse.
Yeah, like that's got a lot.
I can
He was
remember
white.
everything.
He was a man. He believed in
Colorado
Jesus.
Springs, big church in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
It's going to bug me. If anyone in the chat can think of it, that would be good.
Yeah,
just so I don't sit here stressing about it. But maybe Greg Locke is a little bit that way inclined, and he's overcompensating. I don't know.
This is the thing, though, right? Humor is like the perfect method for bringing people down a notch. Like, to a certain like using humor instead of violence, instead of canceling people, instead of getting them taken off the air. Mocking is, I think, fair game. Like, we use it in Australians, especially. We use it a lot, so I think it's fair game. And let's face it, the Christian message is we all are going to go to hell forever and be tortured. So that seems a little bit more offensive than, hey, we don't believe in your God. So.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that, because that's exactly what Israel Folau said, and there was the big outcry about, well, it's freedom of speech. He's got the right to say that. There was a big hoo-ha about that. But as soon as you say, something nasty about what probably is a fictional character anyway, all of a sudden it's a big deal. So I guess there is that double standard there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, what? There's a
certainly
double standard in religion, or my?
I have no objection personally with
Sorry.
Folau saying exactly what he wants to say. He can do that. He just can't do that if he signed a contract that says he's not going to do that. That's my problem. If you make an agreement to be a public front for an organization and they don't want you to say shit like that or bring your religion into it, then you don't. You leave it at the fucking door.
I find it very hard to believe that Netflix didn't see this reaction coming and they still decided, no, this is something we want to do. So,
well,
I agree with you there. No, Netflix totally knew this was going to happen. Come on, as I was saying to Chris earlier, this is Life of Brian all over again.
And that's the thing. Back in the 70s, there was it's, if you ever get the chance, it's on the videos on YouTube. The interview that John Cleese and I think it was Eric Idle did with, it was like the Archbishop of Canterbury and some other old fuddy duddy, and where they're talking about how the movie, no one will watch it and it'll just be remembered as a crass joke, and Christianity will survive. And I think now the UK is one of the most secular countries out there, and The Life of Brian is probably it's probably my favorite movie, although The Holy Grail does kind of get in there as well. But
how long did we spend quoting Monty Python's Last Night?
Oh, see, I missed that.
You missed that bit. Oh, that was so much fun.
That's when all the British people joined.
Because Dave was in at that point. Yeah.
Did anyone say "ni" to you?
We didn't do "ni."
You didn't do "ni."
We did the whole. We ate Robin's minstrels, and we did the sparrow, and we did the big teeth, and
the great beast of.
There's some lovely filth down here.
So there was another TV show called Good Omens, and I think
I want to watch that.
It's worth it.
I read the book.
It's so worth it.
I read the book.
Yeah,
the
book was always on my list too.
Well, the funny thing is, there was a big petition that went out to Netflix, that all the Christians were up in arms over Good Omens being on Netflix. So I'll just really quickly share the story for that on the screen. So where are we?
This actually made my year.
So thousands petition Netflix to cancel Amazon Prime's Good Omens. Now, the key word there is Amazon Prime. So people will threaten to cancel their Netflix subscriptions. There was a lot of things going back and forth, and they didn't even have the right channel. So it just goes to show that the people who are complaining
Blind
aren't even
rage.
watching or engaging. It's just, it's don't pick on Jesus. But Good Omens didn't actually pick on Jesus. I won't spoil
No
it.
spoilers.
but,
No spoilers. Sorry.
no spoilers.
Shut down the discussion.
It's definitely worth reading it. I haven't actually seen the
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
I read,
But it's got
Terry
David
Pratchett,
Tennant
like,
in it,
all the
of
way
course.
through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Terry
you're a
Pratchett
Pratchett
is
fan, are you?
amazing.
Yeah,
I'm a
well,
Pratchett
Great
fan.
for Doctor Who.
Yeah, me too.
Sam Vimes.
Supernova in Perth. I missed the 1 year he was actually there. So I missed out on seeing him.
no.
I so regretted it. I was like, shit. I mean, I haven't been for years, but I was going, and then I skipped a year, and it was the year he was a guest, and I didn't know until afterwards.
Eye off the prize
Yeah.
there.
Next time
Yeah.
it'll happen. So, so
Uh,
I guess it's there's a lot of talk about you can just walk past normally. It's okay.
we see you. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you were spotted. So it's funny because it's one of the big things in the Christian community that they're all jumping up and down about at the moment is cancel culture. They're all complaining that there's this big cancel culture and it's a terrible thing. But once again, hypocrisy. Yeah, Israel be thy name.
Yeah. I had a person respond to one of my videos talking about how Stephen Anderson was banned from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, like, they're very, 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 very right wing, almost to the point of like PragerU and those highly balanced people. And anyway, they said that like all leftists, they only agree with people, like will only allow free speech for people they agree with or mildly disagree with. To which I'm like, he wants to kill 10% of the population. I don't agree with that at all. I vehemently disagree with that. And if you don't disagree with that vehemently, you've really got to ask a good couple of hard questions about yourself. And yeah, of course I want to cancel him because he wants to actually physically harm people. And that's what I get a lot of. I see a lot of the far right wing where they're sort of screaming about, visual, like being able to say what they want to say all the time. However, the number of times, like, I've seen that person also turn around and they actually ended up boycotting Chick-fil-A because of the stuff that, the violence that the leftists have done. And it's sort of like they want to shut up and shut down the left wing and left leaning people, and they actually boycott and do the same thing, and then they can't see the hypocrisy in what they're saying. And I've noticed that with every single person who is right wing. Yes, okay, everyone right and left wing will be hypocrites in this whole thing. Nobody likes free speech, but I noticed that free speech for the left seems to be a lot more tolerant of free speech than the right wing does, in my opinion. I could be wrong because I am in an echo chamber. We all are, but that's my view of what I'm seeing. And I think, Chris, you might have something to say in what I just said.
I think it's an issue actually on both sides. I think the far right and the far left are probably both as bad as each other. You're right in what you said, where the far right was jumping up and down about Stephen Anderson not being allowed to go into New Zealand, but at the same time they're calling for I think it's Hizbut al-Tahrir, who are the Islamic terrorist group that regularly do talk in Sydney and have similar views, calling for them to be shut down and cancelled. So I absolutely see the hypocrisy there. I think it's the way I look at it with politics. I think you've got your far left, your far right, and then the rest of us who are pretty much to the center of either or in the center who generally can have a laugh and kind of roll our eyes at both of the extremes.
Yeah, I'd be with Chris on this. If you go to your two extremes, they tend, whilst their ideologies might be different, they use the same tactics.
Exactly.
They really do. And they have the same level of intolerance for anyone on the other side. So,
groups like Antifa are no better than Christian fundamentalists.
No, you're exactly right.
As far as the intolerance goes.
Same with, I mean, if you look at what are supposedly meant to be far left radical feminists, often employ the same tactics as the far right Christian radicals.
Yeah.
So, and it, that makes moderate feminists like Mero and I look crazy. Well, look, they may give this image to other people that we're crazy, but it's not. It's just that far left element.
And unfortunately, it's always the kids on either side who are the loudest.
That's right. Yeah, they're the ones who jump and scream and say the most ridiculous things sometimes, and you're just shaking your head, going, "Oh my god!" But these are the people who want change yesterday for things that are glacial in their movements. The whole point about social change is it's not just about laws. If you make laws the way you do social change, it doesn't change anything. All you do is you start throwing people in prison or finding them for stupid things. The only way to really change, to make social change, is through education.
Good point there from
takes time.
Grumpy old Dave. Dave, I'll let you know that it's the left and the right who have got bipartisan agreement on shutting down Cheesecake Gate.
I was like, are we not allowed to talk about Cheesecake Gate?
It's the running. You missed the pre-show. It was the running joke.
Okay.
So I guess another thing I wanted to talk about is, now I'm a mythicist, so I actually don't believe that Jesus ever existed. But
I also think history is on your side. There's enough evidence for him to at least be an amalgamation of several people, like Robin of Oxley. He didn't exist. Like Robin Hood did not exist, but he is an amalgamation of at least 4 or 5 different people. So anyway,
I went towards that one.
Tidbit for you.
The amalgamation theory.
So what I guess I wanted to do is, let's assume for a second that Jesus exists. Okay, and this we'll take the spiritual.
Reddit about this I've been involved in, but anyway. Not Reddit.
Now,
Twitter.
In the Middle East back in those days, I think most men were getting married about 14 or 15. So we've got a guy in his 30s who hangs out with 12 other guys who are all single as well. No one's married. They've got a couple of girls who kind of hang around, but nothing ever seems to happen. I'm thinking he was gay.
It's possible.
I'm thinking the evidence probably. I mean, they all went on fishing trips together. They were wandering around in the desert, going on long journeys. They all had dinner together.
I wrote a Twitter rant a while ago that Jesus was actually a trans woman who faked his own death so that she could go off with the Roman centurion she fell in love with.
Maybe.
Oh, actually, something very similar was actually. Come on, work computer. I don't know why you're going so slow. There is a thread that I read that was retweeted by Vice Rhino, and if my computer would actually, oh god damn it, everything's going slow at the moment.
When was this retweeted?
No, sorry. Oh, Thor, damn it! Is there a god of slow technology?
Yahweh.
Notcha.
Yahweh.
He's responsible for that.
Anyway, it was quite.
If he
it was
wanted
quite
to
hilarious.
have his say, he should be in here.
No.
Are we talking about cheesecake? Is this a cheesecake?
No. There was no one said the C word. Yeah, I think it's
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I share my screen? I'm going to
Yep.
share my screen. All right. I'm going to share that. All right. So this was from Vice Rhino was tagged. And if Jesus was born from a virgin birth, doesn't that mean he has only an X chromosome? Wouldn't that make him female? And someone wrote, wait. And someone else wrote trans Jesus, trans Jesus, trans Jesus. Someone else wrote, I have taken 3 years of theology, 1 of apologetics, and 1 of anatomy and physiology, and I'm honestly stumped by this one. And someone wrote, those species that are parthenogenetic, i.e. self-fertilizing certain lizards, snakes, frogs, and fish, the offspring is always genetically, physically female typical. So yeah, if we were to take the nativity scene as a scientific story, a parthenogenic human pregnancy, still a scientific impossibility, would result in an assigned female at birth child, and since that child has always been referred to as he, voila, trans Jesus. And someone wrote, actually, I think this depends on species. Like New Mexican whiptail lizards are entirely female, all parthenogenesis all the time species. But Komodo dragon parthenogenesis always results in males because their chromosome determination is different. So clearly, to get to the bottom of this mystery, the first question we need to ask is what type of reptile was Mary?
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's definitely one of my favorite things. I'm like, oh, I like that one. I've even bookmarked that because it's great. But yeah, Jesus is probably trans. It was a trans.
Interesting point from Art. Could have been asexual. Could have been, but that's less fun.
That's true.
Let's really upset them. And
it's conceivable
he's
that
one.
he was made a eunuch as a child.
That is true.
Could have been a hermaphrodite.
Could have been.
Maybe.
Could have been.
I don't know how that works. But,
I mean, human beings are made in God's image, which means God must be intersex, but they'd be both male and female. So if Jesus is God on earth, then Jesus should have been intersex.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to know is if man was made in God's image, why does God have a dick? Unless he knew about Mary in advance. I mean,
because it can be fun sometimes. It's not always used for its intended purpose, if you get my drift.
Well, I actually asked that question of the first ever collaboration I did was with Notja, and I asked the question, if God is made in if man's Jesus image, like who looks like God, like me or Kanye West? And I still have no idea if God looks like myself or Kanye West, because we kind of look polar opposite, with the exception of the color of our hair. Like if you think about it, they look nothing alike. And yet, yeah, who does God look like?
No one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's almost as if it was all made up, but
yeah, funny that isn't it?
No. Couldn't be. So we've got the comments are coming through. It's in a really sort of fast way today, but it's just I think we're trying to disseminate between Cheesecake Gate and the conversation. So he's Dave. There is a god of cheesecake, and he's showing his wrath.
Actually, I think what's happened is that my laptop ran out of battery, and now that when I turned it on, it's kind of like doing all the stuff, and it's kind of when computers, they get a bit slow when they're not happy. I think that's what happened.
Why don't you plug the power in then?
No, the power is plugged in.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just like you know what I mean when it
yeah.
So
and it's I think Jen's theory is being backed up here. Clearly, trans gay man.
Definitely, or trans gay woman.
I said a trans woman in my original one, but the one that Miro brought up was a trans man. So
Let's not forget that in all of this, the outrage is the baked-in assumption that being gay is evil and distasteful. Otherwise, it wouldn't be offensive either.
I must admit, I only said
that's
mine.
true.
I only came up with mine because it was in a thread that Ken Ham was in, and he got pissed off with me. He didn't
You
block
pissed
me
off
though,
Ken
which
Ham?
is fucking. Yeah, I did, and he fucking didn't block me.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, it
I
was.
got
Yeah.
I got blocked by someone today. I can't remember. Just simply by us.
Catholic Church that put
Yeah.
out the
Oh,
Something
that one,
Atheists. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What was up with
Another
that?
one. I
was
responded
his
to him as
name?
well. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
well,
got
you only
blocked.
made one tweet, and it wasn't even. It was just a question.
It was,
I
Yeah,
responded
the
to
question
correcting
was-
the
But it
straw
was a
man and
question.
telling him how they should have phrased it.
Yeah.
How are they going to save an atheist if they're blocking them? I mean,
That's
you
why
could have
I
been
hope
led
they
to,
block me as
well,
well.
you could have been led to Christ. I mean, they're lost.
I could
Again.
have been.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I was not, because apparently I'm too far down the rabbit hole.
Well,
Maybe
we'll have to let
I don't
Nervardia
know.
know that you won't be coming.
So, Chris, did you were you ever taught, because you're from the same evangelical background, were you ever taught that you could lose salvation forever if you blasphemed the Holy Spirit?
That is in there, but no, that was kind of avoided. That never really got brought up. There was always a road back to salvation. There
Yep.
was always you couldn't lose it forever because it's not.
You had to
doesn't
truly
help
repent.
get money. So yeah, you can't get 10% of someone's income if they're going to hell forever. So. But no, it was.
Oh, but
there was
you
always.
can-
There was
you
always
could
a way. There was
probably
always something
say-
to pray.
But there was probably one thing you could say is like, you will go to hell if you give us 10% of your income, but 20%, God might be a little bit more flexible.
Indulgences. Let's bring those back.
Mhm.
Buy your
Yeah.
way into heaven.
God needs a check.
Well, isn't that the
Isn't it
majority of
amazing?
the way
He
people
created
think?
everything, but he can't make his own money.
No.
Exactly. That's
No, he needs
weird.
us to go and
He's
raise it for him.
incredibly incompetent.
No,
Yes.
what you see is he entrusts people with money, and because he wants to entrust you with more, he just wants to make sure that you're going to manage it right and do the right thing. So if you want to have more money, you need to give more money. That's how it works, isn't it? That sound right, Sam?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
'cause
got
he
to be
can't
good
make
to
money
be
for
chanced.
himself, but he can make money for
Yeah.
you by you working for it, and then you just give it to his church because they are incapable of normal work.
Yeah.
It's not
and
a
the old
Ponzi
mustard
scheme.
seed.
I don't know who said it was a Ponzi scheme, because it's not.
No, it's a pyramid scheme. Bit different.
It's the trapezoid. It traps the money in.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Well,
Sorry, I've been
unless,
watching
of
way
course,
too many
you're
Simpsons because of the
that
Disney
dude I did the video on who definitely pyramid sells.
Here's a question. So we've been talking about fundamental Christians and how they've responded to the gay Jesus idea. We know there are Christians out there that accept homosexual people and even make them ordained ministers. Do we think they're offended by this?
Probably.
I don't know anyone. There's one person that's reached out to me from one of my videos, which I've added him on Twitter, who wants to have a discussion at some point about something, but I'm not sure if they fit into this category. But does anyone have any friendships or Twitterships with people that might fit into this category? Because I'd be
Might
curious to find
offended
out.
by it.
Yeah,
They might be offended. Like, do they accept homosexuality in people, but it would be offensive for Jesus where his sexuality is never really dealt with in the... Well, I suppose that's...
I'll ask my mum when I go down to Albany.
Yeah,
I'm going to try and tell a story without doxing myself. So if I seem a bit vague, it's just because I need to leave some
Because
details
you've been
out.
drinking.
Hardcore on the water tonight.
Yeah, on the water.
Um,
Woo!
Monday night.
Yeah.
So a
That's
few
why
years
we're
ago,
not actually all that happy this stream. It doesn't have the same
Mondays.
vibe.
We're
that
not
we
as
normally
funny
do.
either. Funny that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we are as funny. It's just we think we're funnier when we're having a few drinks.
No, we're definitely more
No, we're
funny
definitely
when
funny. Other
Yeah.
people have said
Yeah,
we're
I
funny.
agree.
Although our audience could have been drinking too.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
a good
that's
point.
true.
That's a good point. Yeah, they probably.
Are you
need to,
drinking,
but,
audience?
Yeah, just a why if you're drinking something you shouldn't be on a Monday night, and an N if you aren't. So
I was going to say F for
Well,
water.
I am actually. There is a bit of vodka in my tea, so There
I'm
you go.
jelly. I'm
Oh, you
very
are the
jelly.
only one of us drinking alcohol at the moment, are you, Mary?
Yes, but I still have to be up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Oh.
So
Well, or she's the only one who's honest about drinking at the moment.
I'm
I've
I've got booze in arm's reach, but I'm not drinking.
I mean, I've got the water bottle. Doesn't mean there's water in there. There is, but yeah.
Well,
So,
that's either water or vodka, and it's not vodka.
What gin?
Well, skull it.
Well, no, it's definitely not gin. I can't stand gin. It's revolting much. It's like having your tongue beaten about by a bit of wood.
well, this one's quite
No.
smooth. This vodka.
I like vodka,
not the
but
good stuff that got
gin
left
is
behind, is it?
revolting.
What?
It's not the same as the good stuff that got left behind, is it?
It's a different one. It was actually left behind by my ex, who has.
Oh, so it's not notches.
No, I didn't even know I had it until I found it tonight. So
Free booze.
free booze. It's always good.
Did he get you another cheesecake?
No.
You said the C word. All right. So getting back to the topic. So back in my very evangelical days, I was outspoken, surprising for me, on a few things. And I remember having a meetup with a gay Pentecostal pastor.
What
Wow.
Yeah, it was very odd. We met up in Newtown, and I was very open to having the conversation, and it was interesting because he gave me all this stuff and actually a book. I think it was called "Love Isn't an Orientation," that is essentially a gay Christian book. It sort of points to a lot of things in the Bible, like King David being gay. I think other things like I can't think is it Ruth? I think Ruth is potentially the story of a lesbian relationship.
A lesbian.
A lesbian. I've got Portuguese in the brain. And also that Jesus potentially was gay, and once again sort of alluding to the fact that, well, he was never married. You know what? I was looking for it before because I'm doing a massive clean out of my place. I know that my other half is listening because she just walked in 2 seconds ago and said, "Do you want me to get you a beer after our alcohol talk?" So if you're listening, darling, and you can find the book "Love Is an Orientation," that is probably somewhere in our spare room. That would be great if you want to bring it out, and I can kind of show everyone. But it was an interesting. But he had a lot of printed up stuff, and look, theologically, a lot of it was garbage. But
a lot of theology is garbage anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, this is blatantly interpreting something the way
it's finding gaps where they can insert meaning that's not there.
But isn't that what most theology does?
No, not most theology. There's meaning there that's made up by someone who wrote it down. This is theology where someone didn't write it down and they're just adding it because it fits their desire or whatever.
Yeah, it goes both ways, though. I mean, if it was only not people making stuff up to fit what they wanted, all churches would be pretty much the same. But they're not. So, even in the real fundies like Ken Ham and that, the 6,000 years and stuff, they don't all agree, not 100%.
Yeah, I just think that the more liberal you get as a Christian, the less you're actually following the Bible as it's written.
I'd agree with that.
They just pick different bits they don't necessarily, like, tattoos is a good example of one where some churches are very much, no, that's a sin, and other churches which are like, yes, crucifixion across my chest and Jesus, and so.
The amount of Pentecostals who have got the cross on their forearm that they can show off to everyone to show that they really love Jesus.
Jesus fish,
it's amazing. Oh, bloody Jesus fish! I am so sick of seeing Jesus fish and Jesus stickers.
I'm glad you guys never got religious tattoos.
I'm glad I never got tattoos because I like to use the bathhouses in Japan.
Fair enough.
They're amazing. Can't
you use them if you've got tattoos?
You can be asked to leave in a lot of places, and I like to have my options open.
Yeah.
They're naked, full naked public baths.
Yeah. The culture in Japan is that tattoos are like really bad. You basically, basically, if you have a tattoo in Japan, you have you're part of the Japanese mafia. So it's
I've never been in a mafia before.
Yeah,
good.
well,
Go down to
I
Rebundy with
don't
a sleeve
suggest
tattoo
that.
and see how you go.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'll avoid that one. But
Actually, I have a question for both Chris and Sam. Have you ever encountered an apologetics that does not rely on a logical fallacy?
It depends where you count the logical fallacy. If the fallacy is that the Bible is reasonable to believe, then they all are based on that. But
Yeah.
there are some where if you start with the assumption that Jesus died for your sins and the resurrection is real, I don't think they're all fallacious. I can't think of one off the top of my head though, so maybe I'm just pulling out shit at the moment. So. But look, there are some consistent ones, but they're only consistent within the narrative of Jesus was a real Son of God who came to Earth.
Yeah, there's consistent arguments, but the premises are fallacious.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
so. Like
there's
for
probably
example,
some I didn't realize at the time, but now I'd look back and say, well, yeah, absolutely they are.
yeah, like for example, a lot of the things that people have you said, like this God is real because of,
Oh, those are all fallacies.
yeah, or God is real, or how can you do this? Blah blah blah, or I know God is real because blah blah blah, and all of them. I've not encountered an apologetics that is not based on a logical fallacy. Sarah Michelle said she had one. I can't remember what it was, but basically she said you could use that apologetics to argue for the existence of Superman, so it's completely useless anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Spider-Man argument. I can prove that New York City exists. Spider-Man lives in New York, therefore Spider-Man exists. So
but
that's
a logical fallacy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's probably a lot of things back in the day that I wouldn't have realized, but now I look back at and I really question what my thought process was back in the day, to be honest. The
Kalam cosmological argument is internally consistent, but most of the premises are fallacies. So
yeah. Well,
yeah.
even
What is
still,
it? It's valid,
there
but it's
might
not
be
sound. One of the ways, or is it the other way around?
Sorry.
It's valid but not sound. Is that the format for the Kalam?
Yeah.
Like it's a valid structure,
logical
but it's not
premises
sound
are
premise.
fine, but you have to make a huge your premises that you're putting forward.
Your conclusion is in P1.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Yeah, but
it's not valid because the your propositions are invalid. So.
However, there's an interesting thing. I was reading The Disappearing Spoon, which is a book about chemistry and all the really cool things that chemistry is. And there may be a possibility that the reason why we haven't been able to find life elsewhere in the universe is because it's only like the laws of physics actually changes throughout the universe. Like they're not consistent without the universe. So in our local area of the universe, the laws of physics work for life, but outside of whatever huge amount of what we're seeing, there might actually be like the charges might be slightly different, or the bonding angles of carbon, for example, might be different. So that's one hypothesis, is as to why we haven't been able to find life, is because actually the laws of physics within our entire universe might actually not be consistent.
Wasn't it?
We
also
had this discussion the other night.
It was just like the absolute scale of it as well. So like even if you look at the earliest radio waves that we emitted, the sphere where we would be detectable from at the moment is still really small, even if there wasn't.
It's not. That's not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is once those waves get out to about 400 light years, they are so dilute that unless, of course, you put a really, really strong directional signal out there, no one's going to pick it up from the background noise. So if we were going to pick up an alien species that wasn't directly sending us a message, a high-powered radio emission message, and we were just hoping to pick up their television or radio signals, they would have to be within 400 light years and at a technological level where they could send those messages.
Yeah. It's not
and
even
we
granted
also
that.
don't know is radio the end of what we can do scientifically. We don't know that. There may be something within quantum physics that gives us a new communication system that's better. And then we stop using radio waves. At which point, who's going to detect us, even if they are within that distance? So there's all these sort of questions that are askable. And aside from that, evolution does not head towards intelligent species. We are an accident, essentially.
But
evolution was
be
not
arrogant to
aiming
think we were
towards
the only
us.
accident.
Yeah, we probably aren't. But in all the millions of years of evolution on this world, it took until the last 65,000 years for us to get to something that was able to look up the stars and go, "Hey, wonder what's out there."
Yeah, I'm just going to address a couple of things in the chat, such as what Atheist Edge has said. It probably isn't the case. I don't think it's the case either. I still think that the laws of physics are uniform throughout this universe, but there is that possibility. They think that maybe certain parts of physics does change within the universe that we have. So I don't think it is. I think it's more of an interesting thought experiment rather than a actual this is what's happening. But it's still an interesting thought to say, hey, maybe there's a possibility that, the bond angles of carbon might change in our area of the universe versus, a galaxy 100 trillion light years away or something.
I'm going to leave the science stuff completely up to you guys. I'm the historian and the theologian in here. I'm certainly not the scientist. But I'm learning.
It's a discussion show where we get to talk to people who are smarter than us.
Yes, which is many, many people.
Everyone in here for me. So
I was going to say, I think you guys are on your own level at this point. So I did science to grade 12, and then
no, Mero buries me, especially in her field. I just bow to it.
So, are we going to continue talking about how ridiculously hypocritical the whole thing is with Folau and shit?
Yeah. I think there's probably a few other things we can sort of mention. It's probably more poking fun at them, I think, at this point, because
we could have that. Well, I mean, he is a cunt, so he deserves it.
Yeah, he is.
Well, think about how many media examples of Jesus being portrayed in non-flattering ways that already exist. Just let it go. Horses out of the stable. Since that South Park episode where Jesus and Satan had the boxing match. And Jesus was just this wimpy, scrawny, and Satan just bet against himself so he could throw the fight. And Jesus in popular media, just forget about it. Just let us have it and go and do your Sunday sessions.
Well, one of the things that I want to point out is a lot of the things is, go do Muhammad and see if what'll happen then. You won't do that because you're called Islamophobe. And I'm like, no, I think they wouldn't do that because they actually like to live.
Yes, exactly.
Having said that, I've got in discussions with Faye arguing against Allah and Muhammad with Faye in some of their threads. So,
but this is the thing, right? The Muhammad and the Islam side of it, we know that type of critique can be very dangerous. But that is not an argument for it to be for Christianity to not get it. Just because Christians in some ways are, in this specific way,
all of them.
Christians
some
are.
Of them are.
In general, though, we can sit here and talk shit about Jesus, and we know we're not going to get death threats.
Get stabbed.
You can't do that with Islam. That's not a reason to not criticize and use humor as a way to critique Christianity. That's something we should try and change about how we deal with Islam and how Islam interacts with people that are not Islamic, not the other way around.
It's amazing how fast a moderate Muslim can turn radical if you start to not insult but start to poke fun at their religion.
And I mean, just look at what's happened with the drawing of Muhammad and things like that. It's I guess getting back to South Park, they did 2 episodes. Funnily enough, there was one where Muhammad was in it and he was part of the super best friends and he had the power of fire. But then when there was word that they were going to have, after a few things, it wasn't the Charlie Hesbo incident, but it was one of the Dutch incidents, and they were going to have Muhammad on South Park, and it turned into a 2-part episode where they had their head in the sand.
It was the episode 200 and 201. Like that was the name of the episodes.
Yeah,
I think
big controversy there.
I think Critical Criminal, he made a really good point. As sort of, can we demand every church that has ever put out a video portraying atheists as the straw men that they do are offensive and should be banned? Well, I think that's a really good point because, that's a very good point. Because they do highly offensive things to atheists. So,
and everyone else, everyone who doesn't fit in their little book.
And generally, this is true. Some cases, there's an exception, but offense isn't given; it's taken. And in this case, they could just be the bigger people if they are really trying to save people and win souls and stuff. They're not doing their actions here don't match up with that intent to me. They're just being critical, nasty, and overreacting to something. If we don't believe that Jesus, go on.
No, you keep going.
No. If we don't believe that Jesus is divine, then this seems like a natural way that you would treat a, for all intents and purposes, mythical character. You look at the way Marvel movies treat Norse mythology and other gods from other religions, it's fine. But as soon as it's Christianity, when to us they might as well be the same thing, they expect us to treat their deity.
About that the other day.
Yeah, that's why it was in my head. To be fair, no, Ocean Keltoy.
Yeah,
Ocean and Cullen both had a rant about it. Yeah.
And
I think also Red as well
was portrayed. Yeah, the way Thor's portrayed in the probably the more recent Marvel movies, he's not the big shining superhero. They're all very flawed, and that is someone's religion. And to me it's ridiculous, but to me Christianity is ridiculous. So where's the difference there? Where's the difference in poking fun at Zeus and Achilles and the rest in movies like say Troy? Poking fun at the devil at every chance they get, the devil being portrayed as this horrible, evil character. Well, isn't that offensive to the Satanists? I mean, where do you draw the line? Or is it just...
how many of us got up in arms when South Park had a go at atheists? With Richard Dawkins marrying Mrs. Garrison.
I will just clarify for Grumpy Dave that while I said offense is taken, not given, that I think that there are exceptions to that. It's not a rule because
there are definitely people who go out of their way to give offense.
Yeah.
In the context of this, Jesus
and
is gay,
to
I
take
think it fits that narrative. But I'd be interested if he's got a different point of view on that.
So he's interesting. When is giving offense appropriate? Is it appropriate for us to poke fun at Jesus?
No, I think it's more that it's that's a good question, Notja. I think there's certain times that you can give offense in a bit of a fun way, tongue-in-cheek in a way, yes. I mean, there's a difference between ha ha ha, this is a comedy and a parody about Jesus being gay. That's not really offensive to most moderate people versus I think all gay people should burn in hell. That's offensive in that, and the intention behind that is offensive. In the case,
I don't think the right-wing Christians would actually agree with you, though.
Yeah, but they're extreme right-wing Christians.
Yeah. See, this is where it gets tricky, is where we have different definitions. So the Christians will define Jesus as a person, and therefore it's being just as personal for us to do it as it is for them to do it to,
However, they're also being offensive in that they're taking offense at us saying he could have been gay because they're seeing gay as an insult, whereas none of us are.
Yeah, that's what.
That's not what's funny about this. The fact that he's gay isn't what's funny.
Their beliefs.
Yeah.
which we don't.
Yes,
Share.
I don't think there's any issue with. I really, I actually take offence to people taking offence to humour. I
That's
mean,
offensive.
it's not designed to be taken seriously. It can be designed to point out, to poke fun at things that are clearly fallacies. But I mean, really, I just think people just need to relax and have a laugh. I mean, at what point will someone not be offended? I mean, should we get up in arms and complain about the we keep going back to South Park, the Scientology episode with Tom Cruise in the closet?
I would kind of disagree with you saying being offended by humor. Like I would say being outraged by humor, because some humor is clearly designed to be offensive. And there are some things some jokes you should never make. Like, it is offensive to a lot of people that you make rape jokes at the expense of the person who was raped. Like, that was just a joke. No, that was you being a dick.
Can I get a temperature measure here on that? What's everyone's feelings on Ricky Gervais and his style of comedy?
I don't think he's that funny, personally.
Yeah, I'm with Mero on this. I've seen a few of his things that I quite like, but I think he's I think he does outrage for the sake of outrage.
Right.
I think there's some things that are cringeworthy. Sorry, Jen. Sorry, I just jumped over the top of you. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I think I'd finished.
I think there's some things that he says that are definitely cringeworthy. Same with I think the Dave Chappelle special. I
agree with you with that
because of the controversy, and there were some things in it that I thought were really, really funny, and some things that I think you could take in a certain way. There were certain bits that I just kind of went, oh, but I guess then is that my personal comfort zone? I mean, where other people may not be upset or offended. I guess. Humor is subjective.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about something like there's a lot of jokes about Colombia and the drug, cocaine. And if you know any Colombians, you would know that making a joke about cocaine is very, very not okay. And the reason being is that people don't understand that the drug wars in Colombia have killed hundreds of thousands of people. And when I say if you make a joke about the drug war in Colombia, is like making a joke, like making a joke about cocaine to a Colombian is like making a joke about World War II and Nazi Germany to a German. It's a huge source of shame, and it's a hugely offensive thing to make a joke about that. Even if you don't intend to be offensive, it's still something that you shouldn't do. So when you said, humor in the light of humor, and we shouldn't be offended by humor, there are some lines that we need to draw in the sand where it's like, no, we can't make jokes about that. We should not make jokes about Nazi Germany or the Holocaust or those sorts of things. We should not make jokes to Colombians and about Colombia, because it is highly offensive, because people have died. So
I guess, and that is an interesting point you bring up. And I guess by that same reasoning, then, is it wrong for us to poke fun at Jesus?
No, because no one has died.
Jesus did.
Jesus did die, but the atrocities made in the name of Jesus gives you a right to be able to poke fun at Jesus.
Surely that's subjective from our point of view.
Yes, I think it should be fine to make jokes about Jesus, even though some of them I wouldn't really agree with.
I think it's fine to make jokes about anything, given as long as you can look for the intent. If the intent is to be humorous without going out of your way to cause offense, then I don't see a problem with it. If you are deliberately just going out of your way to make offense, then I think you've missed the mark. Humor shouldn't just be about offense.
So if I'll bring up an example, and this is something I see and hear a lot of. So jokes about Catholic priests in the Catholic Church. Should we be able to make those? Because is that not something that could be, I guess, offensive to priests who haven't done anything wrong and members of that church, but also to the victims of that church?
Well, this is an interesting point because I was actually listening to to Triple J years ago, and a comedian got into trouble because he made a rape joke and someone started yelling at them. And they actually played a couple of jokes about three of them. Two of them were making jokes at the victim's expense, and the third one was making a joke about the perpetrator's expense. And the first two were just not okay, but the third one was okay because you were attacking the person in power. You were taking it down. You were talking about the perpetrator of this crime. So they all three were rape jokes, but the last one was okay because it was at the expense of the person who did the crime. And I think that's kind of why I think it's okay to make a joke at Jesus's expense, because Jesus is in the sense a perpetrator of crime, because of all of the stuff that's being done in his name. In a roundabout way, he is the perpetrator of that crime. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So not to get sort of English major on you. I didn't major in English. I'm just sort of talking shit. But like the purpose or the method of comedy is to subvert the expectation. So when you set up the punchline, the idea is the punchline will not be what the person that's listening to the comedy is expecting. And so in the case of making fun of Jesus, it's because there's an expectation that he's holy, he's righteous, he is the way, the truth, the light, yada, yada, yada. And then, oh, he's gay. And you say gays are bad, and that's funny because you guys are being bigots. That's because it's speaking to something that is socially unacceptable, but it presents itself as socially acceptable because we sort of, there's a default that religion, Christianity in the West anyway, is seen as morally positive narratively, but in reality, they're a bunch of assholes. And so humor is a good way to bring that truth out without using violence, without using deplatforming, without using sort of tactics that are less acceptable, I guess. Like humor is a great tool to use to show the disconnect between a belief and its outcomes. And I think that's why it's okay to make fun of Jesus. And
Going
like you say, when it's the Catholic Church, again, it's great to point out you're hypocrites because you allow, like even the Catholic priests that aren't taking part in it, like I'm pretty sure it's pretty common that it's a systemic issue with the church, just like it is with the JWs. And so that's why those jokes are positive, because of the intent, not just because of the content.
Going back to what Dave said about free speech and what we've sort of been saying, I don't think we should police comedy. I don't think we should police. I not necessarily that comedy is sacrosanct, but people will police comedy based on their own morals. So I'm not saying we should have legislation that says you can't make jokes about this, because I think that would be ridiculous. But I do think moralistically we individually police the comedy we listen to.
Let the audience police the jokes, not the government.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to give two examples, and I guess which will touch on a few of the things that we said. Now, I mentioned sort of Nazi jokes are offensive to Germans. So what about something like Hogan's Heroes? Is that something that would be offensive? Or is that because of the way it's done, is that more of a light-hearted? Does it, I guess, is there levels of offense that can be applied?
Yeah. Well, before we go on to that, I just want to say I agree with Orla. She goes, I'm very much if you don't like a comedy style, don't listen or watch it, because your free speech allows you to do that. And that's basically, I'm not for policing comedy. I'm just saying that, making those sorts of jokes that I mentioned earlier is highly offensive, and you probably shouldn't do it, but there is nothing stopping you from doing it. However, that's not to say people who are on the receiving end of that joke will not want to tell you to fuck off. So that goes to the I support free speech, but there's no such thing as free speech without consequence.
Those who are constantly attacking people and pushing the boundaries of what is free speech are going to ultimately have a smaller audience and not have as much influence as far as being a comedian goes. So they make a choice in what they
the audience
do.
sort out who they want to listen to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what about so are you guys familiar with a guy called Milo Yiannopoulos?
Yes.
Of course we are.
Vaguely.
So Milo.
Do I need to drink my vodka quicker?
No. This is.
Oh, Mary, you got your swear words ready?
Mhm.
So with Milo, Milo, he found himself
He's
in
a
a lot
little
of trouble,
prick.
essentially cancelled.
Bit of a twat.
Because he's more than a bit, but anyway, because of comments he made and a joke he made regarding pedophilia, and it was seen as supporting it. Now, when he came out in the media, he said he was a victim, and it was his coping mechanism. So I guess in that case, and I'm bringing these examples to sort of say, what do we think? Is it crossing the line or?
So no single joke is necessarily crossing the line until you start to look at where was it delivered, how was it delivered, and to who was it delivered. There are jokes that I make with my wife in the privacy of our own home, which if I made on stream, I would be cancelled. Like it's just, because contextually we understand each other to the point where if I joke about a particular subject, she knows my beliefs and my feelings on it, and I know she knows, and that's a safe place for me to make that joke. Not going to do it at public, not going to do it at work, not going to do it at Westfields or Nando's or whatever. And I think that's where Milo falls in that joke with his friends as a coping mechanism around beers. Fine. Saying it in a place where it has an audience that is with people that don't have that connection with him that can understand his intent. Not okay.
Context. Yeah. So context is important. And I think that's probably something I'd agree with.
Yeah. But like you could also even extend that to just inside jokes. Like
cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Yeah. Like, if we start talking about cheesecake and everyone's like yelling at each other to stop talking about cheesecake, if you don't know about Cheesecake Gate, like not that that's an offensive thing, but you need to have that context. Yeah. Oh, that's right, Notcha. You went to see Milo.
The worst thing about him is he is putting a bad name on a great drink.
Milo, yeah, it was a good
Milo.
drink.
Now I want one. Bugger you.
Cheesecake is not joke.
No, we don't say the C word. So my thoughts are, and I probably agree with most here. I think it's I'm more than happy to poke fun at Jesus. I think look, in my opinion, Jesus didn't exist. So I'm poking fun at Jesus in the same way I'd poke fun at other evil characters like Lord Voldemort. So it's to me that sort of that part of
something against people who have no nose.
He doesn't know what he's talking. No, he doesn't know.
He doesn't knows what. He has no idea. Sorry.
Who knows?
There it is. Thank you.
Oh, look, I've got kids. I'm the master of the dad joke. Don't worry. But not too many of them. But yeah, so to me, I think, and I also think the way that Christians act, especially with things like it's the Israel Folau, everyone's going to hell comments. I think that leaves them open for ridicule, and I think that we're entitled to ridicule in that sense. Now, if we were just attacking, a religious figure who, with followers who pretty much kept to themselves, didn't criticize, were just nice, peaceful, happy people that stayed out of everyone's way, maybe it's a different situation. But
it'd be really hard to do this with Buddhists.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Generally, all the people that get ridiculed in the atheist community are people that step into the community by addressing it. Like, they're people that are posting about us or to us or telling us things like Israel Folau did. He told us what we deserved and we responded. I think that's fair. And he could pull back from that at any point and stop talking, but he chose not to do that. He chose to continue to interact with us. So, great. Nice to have you, Izzy.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's like the same with leaving atheism or something like the person who blocked me today.
Yeah.
The one which still
Let's see if
makes
that
me
books me
giggle.
yet.
He's got such a thin skin.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like everybody in the public sphere has and will be made fun of, like, and it's quite hilarious that that some people cannot handle that. And for example, Greg Locke, the amount of outrage he has, and he blocks people, and the same with SJ Thompson, or she
I'm
says,
being very careful with her. I'm trying to keep her from blocking me for a while.
yeah, I don't even interact with her, but
She is not a nice person.
she is not a nice person. No, she's not.
It's weird because she acts like it. That's why I'm so confused with her at the moment. But yeah, I've seen enough interactions, I think, where she's just disingenuous. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she'll act all nice to people, and then off on a little side thread that she doesn't think you're paying any attention to, she will just let loose.
Yeah, I saw her really piss off. What's his name from Digital Hammurabi?
Yeah, she's not a pleasant person.
Which that seems like a really hard thing to do. So,
escaping atheism. There we go. So my what made escaping atheism block me was there's 33 votes. Still got 12 hours left. Which is, does escaping atheism have even the most basic understanding of psychology? 94% of people said no, and 6% of people said maybe. I didn't put yes, because I like to do like the same genuine polls that they do, yeah, it's sort of everyone's going to be mocked at some point. I know in the future someone's going to mock me and make jokes of me.
All of us have done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Went you on Jen's stream last night?
What was that? Sorry.
No, I wasn't. Sorry.
I said just watch Jen's stream last night. We all went to make fun of Jen and ended up piling on you.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Marrow and Notcha. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. But yeah, it's sort of like, but that's between friends. Like, I'm talking about people that we don't know. Will eventually, once we get big enough, people will start piling or making jokes at our expense. So,
We'll have a look.
I think we've all had a little bit of that already, but yeah, we don't know what's going to really be like.
Well, I mean, okay. So I guess here I'll bring something up. Politicians. So I think we all
waiting for it, weren't you?
Oh no, I probably should have avoided it. But to use exactly,
it's your turn, Mary. Right, you got to say what he is.
What was that? Sorry?
Politicians.
Because I did it last night. So.
Police. Oh, they're all fucked.
No, ScoMo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a fucking cunt.
But would you say that to his 9-year-old daughter?
Maybe not to his 9-year-old daughter, because she doesn't deserve to hear me say that to her about her father. I'll say it to her dad.
How about this? I'm sure he's quite a nice person, but he's
I don't care. He's a
leanings
cunt.
are fucked.
I don't care.
Oh dear.
Like,
I wasn't intending to bring ScoMo up, funnily enough. I was actually going to mention Trump.
That was my fault. I'm
Trump.
so sorry.
Well, he's also a fucking cunt as well.
Because I knew
he's
we'd
a child. You can't call him a cunt. He's literally a child in a man's body.
Well,
I'm not going to give him that out. He knows what he's doing.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's a narcissist, maybe even a psychopath. So
he's certainly a narcissist.
There's a high level of sociopathy in successful CEOs, but since Trump's not really successful, I don't know if that counts.
You saw the tweet he posted the other day about the thing. It was a kid's tantrum, literally.
Just the amount of attention he gives to Greta is ridiculous.
He doesn't know how to Twitter. He shouldn't be on Twitter. He doesn't know.
He's violated so many of their terms of service. It's disgusting that he hasn't been banned from Twitter.
He can't though.
Well, you mentioned
They
fake
legally
bans.
can't.
They're never going to ban the president of the US.
That's a no-win.
No,
situation.
they've got a policy that says they won't ban political leaders.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like
So
YouTube
he
is
could
blocking
literally
preference to
say whatever he
political.
likes. He's a law unto himself on Twitter.
And that's
He's
not
lying to
okay.
himself in the USA anyway.
No,
so
I
what's
agree.
what's
It's not
Twitter,
okay.
you know?
Especially as he uses his own personal account, not the.
Mm. Have
Yeah,
you
that's
actually
what he-
seen? Have you seen Donald Trump's Twitter page? Hang on. Oh, hurry up and work. I'm just waiting for it to load. Real Donald Trump.
God, remember the
Okay.
tweet when he was superimposed onto Muhammad Ali? God, that was a good day.
Oh God! All right, I'm going to share my screen again because it is terrifying. Have a look at that. This bit right here. Look at how he's standing in front of the adoring crowd. Also, by the way, the best thing is there's an extension on Google Chrome that turns
Yep.
all of his writing into like an 8-year-old's writing.
Round scratches.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
I remember hearing about that.
Make America 8 again, everyone.
Where's his kitty one?
I love that.
Where he actually chucks
there-
the say, it's so unfair.
Hey, hang on. Sorry. In the suggested people, did that have suggested if you like Donald Trump, you should follow Hillary Clinton? Did you just scroll past that? There's kind of an irony there.
Where?
When as you were scrolling down, it had the suggested likes. So if you like this page, other people you like it. It had Hillary Clinton. I'm thinking that Trump people probably don't want to. Yeah, there it is. Who to follow?
Show more. I'll click show more. Anyway, but yeah, I'm fairly sure Donald Trump is a narcissist, if not.
Oh, he's definitely a narcissist.
Ew, ugh.
Oh, hang on, was
Leader
I meant to
McConnell.
take the stream down or?
Oh,
Hang
look,
on.
I'm good. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought it was going into your personal stuff. I was like, "Ooh, hang on, I'll remove that."
No. Yeah. So Amanda goes, have you seen his actual handwriting? He really does write like he's 5.
Doesn't he sign his documents with an X?
He signs his documents with a heart attack line.
Oh, it's that big sort of It's a fairly over the top signature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you look at an ECG line, and that's of a person having a heart attack, and that's basically Donald Trump's signature.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I guess that the reason I wanted to bring these ones up and a few that I knew we get some interesting discussion on is because I think what's important is I think it's good to understand where that line is so we don't become hypocrites ourselves.
Yeah.
What's fair to criticize, what's fair to go after, and Gay Jesus, I'm going to be watching it. What about you guys?
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
will have every intent on watching it, but my Netflix queue is a bit of a misery at the moment. So
I wonder if we
I'll
could
try.
get permission from Netflix to tell them to do one and do a critique on it.
you could probably stream it on something like Twitch, but you wouldn't be able to save it for later, so you'd need to do it live. Actually, no, Twitch might drop that.
Chris, can I please have your password for your Netflix account?
Yeah, I'll send it across.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was making a joke, but cool.
Do you need
I
to
can
spare
always,
Disney Plus as well?
I've got Disney Plus and Amazon Prime.
And I'm saying if anyone needs us,
I've only got Disney Plus and Netflix.
Oh yeah, well, I've got all of those, and I've got Crunchyroll, and I've got Anime Lab, and I've got
Crunchyroll's good.
I got to catch up on Dr. Stone.
What I could do is I can actually bring into StreamYard, so long as we don't go live, I can actually get you guys all in, share a screen offline, and play the thing.
You could probably also. I'll see when it's coming out because I've got.
Trouble saying that online.
You can
Well,
do.
Okay, we can all watch it independently legally. That's fine. So I don't think there's any issue with a private stream because it's not a public viewing.
It'd be cool to do a reaction video though.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Because I've got an OBS type software called XSplit, which could potentially have that so you could react to it and it would keep everything in sync. But yeah, I need to do some thinking about that. Maybe annoy Bull.
Could have a gay Jesus party.
Sounds good. I like the idea of
I
that.
already took down the decorations.
Oh, we can get them back.
Hey,
Yeah,
I don't think it's
but
there for a little
balloons,
while. Like the trailer only just came out. I'm not sure what the release.
Yeah,
date
if
is.
we're gonna do a gay Jesus party, I'll have to get some long balloons, and then I can make some big penis balloons up. And stuff.
Ooh, that sounds good.
So here's one last question I do want to ask, and another group that we've kind of ignored for offence here is the members of the LGBT community. Do you think that it is offensive to gay men to suggest that Jesus was one of them?
Only if being gay is offensive, I would think. But I'm
No,
not
more
sure about that authority.
more Jesus.
We need a gay guy to tell us.
It's a bit, yeah, there you go. It'd be like if we said, Hitler was gay. I would think that people would find that offensive.
No, I didn't find it offensive to suggest that Jesus was trans, so I don't see why a gay person would think it was funny. It was offensive to think that Jesus.
I think the joke's subverting Jesus, not subverting gayness. I think that's where it's the Jesus side. That's
I don't think so because Jesus was supposed to spread love, and isn't that what all being gay thing is?
The only downside you get from that is there are passages in the New Testament that are anti-gay, so he was obviously a self-hating gay guy, which would fit in with the time period.
Who's had communion at some point in their life?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Jesus inside us, so.
Which bit of him did you stick in your mouth?
I've had communion many times, so the odds are with me.
So out of curiosity, how many Jesuses have you eaten? Do you think?
Oh, gosh.
No, there's no way I've had enough communions to have eaten a whole
52
Jesus.
times about 7? Whatever that number is.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you would have, unless you actually rated the.
Yeah, we have communion, so we were a bit. The church I was at, we were looking to save money.
The grape juice
and other things. Oh, the grape juice! God, I hate grape juice unless it's fermented.
The Ribena. I'm sure that's what they used, but anyway. Bloody communion crackers. That was a cheap joke, and I apologise.
Good point from Andrew. Actually, Paul was definitely a homophobe in the.
He was very. I would actually go as far as to suggest that Paul was probably gay, and that's why he was so homophobic.
Well, another guy who wanders around with other men, stays in the houses of other men, never gets married, which was uncommon. I mean, everyone back in those days, they all.
Well, it's even the way Paul talks about it. He talks about it. It would be. He talks about. I think it'd be better if we all didn't have sex, and not for the species. It wouldn't be. He's promoting abstinence because he doesn't want to break the rules in the Bible because he knows he'd have to break them because he's gay.
Oh, by the way, Amanda, holy fuck, that made me laugh. I stole a whole bag of communication waivers from my church.
Communion.
What can I say?
That's a whole lot of Jesus to be eating.
Yeah. By the way, it's like 11 o'clock here or 10 o'clock here. So no, Amanda. I mean, I thought you were awesome beforehand, but you've just gone up another notch because that was hilarious, and I just high-fived you over the internet. Push. I've never had one actually. What are they like? Are they just like?
Really? You've never had communion?
Like
no, I've never.
Very closer to Sayers.
How have you not had communion?
I never got confirmed into the church.
Okay. Well, neither did I. But I mean, in the Uniting Church, you could.
Well,
and because I was a member of the Uniting Church, there were members in our family who were Catholic. And it was at a point in time when the Catholic would let people from other churches take communion if there was a multi-denominational service. So I've actually had Catholic wafers.
Okay. Well, I was never baptized, so that's why I've never had one.
The very
But yeah.
first time it felt like bullshit because it says bread and you get this fucking wafer. It's like, no, I want a nice freshly baked piece of bread.
Which was
yeah.
what we had in the Uniting Church. It was actual bread. It was a loaf that was broken up.
Was it like good quality? Like
Yeah, it wasn't bad actually.
sourdough?
Brumbies or cold?
But it wasn't alcohol. They always used fruit juice, non-alcoholic.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised on that.
But you got to remember, part of it is the Uniting Church. Remember, church that I was part of was Methodist, and of course, Methodists had this whole anti-drinking thing. So they moved away from it. Actually, yeah, they moved away from having.
I remember it used to be really hard for me on a Sunday morning because I used to have to get there at like 7 o'clock to do practice with the worship team, and I'd normally skip breakfast because occasionally I went out on a Saturday night. Sorry.
You have to practice worshipping?
Oh, yeah, it's a whole production. Yeah, you've got to practice the songs, get them right. It's really hell, especially if I went out on a Saturday. And
Can you share Grumpy Dave's comment? Sorry.
Yeah, I've had communion in an Anglican church as well. Andrew.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, sorry, that was just great.
Catholic. Yeah,
that works.
I've had communion in a lot of different churches actually.
I used to tuck into them because I'd be hungry for breakfast. So.
Yeah, I've been to Pentecostal churches where I've had communion as well. So,
sorry.
That grumpy old Dave, they're like doughy foreskin. That actually kind of reminds me of a question that was asked to me on Saturday.
That was great.
If you wore Jesus's foreskin, what sort of superpower would you get? So what superpower would you have if you wore Jesus's foreskin?
Oh, we're going back to this one, aren't we?
Yeah.
See,
and now that you've had an opportunity to
so
think,
it has to be something sexual.
Not necessarily. I mean, you could just be talking about, walking across water. It's like you're just holding Jesus's foreskin.
So some sort of Jesus power.
Yeah.
I'd be going for. Have you guys ever seen the movie Orgasmo?
Yes.
I'd go down that path.
Yeah.
So you touch people and give them an orgasm.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I just stole mine from.
What would I want? What would I want, or what do you think I'd end up with?
What would you think you'd end up with?
Oh, I'd probably end up with something absolutely dreadful.
Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
I'd probably end up with an inability to find a sexual partner.
That'd suck.
Yep.
Sam?
But hey, it seems to be Jesus' lot in life, unless, of course, he is gay.
See, I just plagiarized mine from South Park, which second time I brought up South Park, but the power of resurrection, where you could cure impotence. Yeah. Because it's thematic. It's, raising from the dead. And
I'm thinking you'd have a really good pickup line because you could walk around with it and, you see someone you're attracted to in a bar and sort of walk around, wave and go, power of Christ compels you. That would have been the best cheesy pickup line back in the day.
You haven't turned into earrings. You have it sliced in the middle and made two scrotum earrings.
I was just imagining a ring that you'd wear
on your finger.
You just sort of
or a cock ring.
No, on your finger.
No, on your finger.
I mean, the other one is a little bit redundant, don't you think?
Yeah.
And very hard for any woman to wear. Well, the majority of women to wear.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
I won't say any because I'll upset someone.
Well, mine was you'd be guaranteed 100% contraception because Jesus walked on water, therefore he's hydrophobic. Lots of so when he comes, that means that he can't go past the hydrogen, like the water in the vagina, therefore
it just repels out.
Yeah, repels out.
Is that why he doesn't have sex?
Maybe.
But that's why he doesn't have
But
kids.
because but I was just thinking if he automatically repels any sort of water-based stuff, and human lubrication is water-based, then surely every time he tried to have sex, it ended up being a dry hump,
Oh,
Probably.
which might be why why we don't hear about him having sex. He found it too painful, so he just stopped doing it.
maybe that's why
Maybe.
Christianity's down on the whole sex thing. Try to
Maybe.
restrict it as much as possible.
I just figured it's because there was a bunch of very, very sexually repressed blokes.
Mm.
But like, did they start that way and think we need to build a religion around this, or did they? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, who creates that if it's not
It could have
already
been
there?
very hippie-like, especially if they were all screwing each other.
Well, I used to hear these rumors about like a particular church denomination that would use their girls to go out and recruit, so to speak, using their
Yes,
feminine roles. And I was
yes.
like, why didn't I get converted
Yeah,
by
the
this
fishes.
church? Why is it
Yeah.
the?
Yeah, I think
that
also
wasn't a church. That was a cult.
that's,
No,
yeah.
you know what I mean. Though, like they're all
Yeah.
cults, but yeah, some of them call themselves churches.
Grumpy old Dave. His force sin is actually the rings of Saturn, according to the Vatican.
No, I like at Skepticon. One of the ladies talked about cults, and it was. I also think it was Jim Jones, maybe
Mhm.
might have done
Kingdom
that
of
as
God.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, like he used his followers to go and
the
lure
family
people in.
floaty fishing. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, flirty fishing. That was on. Yeah.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. Yeah.
Well, I was 18, 19. Some people, and yeah, they were always the way that they would try and recruit and get, especially guys, in was, they basically try and seduce them. So it's something that definitely happens.
Must be so effective against teenage guys.
Yeah.
Can anyone hear me? I think I'm frozen.
Yes, I can hear you.
We can
your,
hear
your
you.
audio is always fine. It's just your image. That
Your
goes-
video.
Yeah, it's a
Your
good look
internet's
I've got there right now. No,
It's a
I
beautiful look.
don't know. My
It's
Thumbnail.
going to
internet-
become the thumbnail.
Yeah, probably. Alrighty.
All right.
So-
Well, it's we've gone for an hour and a half, so I might call it a night and wrap it up pretty soon. Before we go, I'll just let everyone quickly, shamelessly plug themselves. So, Jen, where can everyone find you?
On Jensel Corner in both Twitter and YouTube. Follow me, sub to me. Enjoy my content if you can.
It's very enjoyable.
Absolutely.
content.
It doesn't take a lot of effort, Jen.
And what's your next video? What do you got in the
I
works at the moment?
actually am not sure. I'm hoping I want to get it recorded before I go away, but I probably won't put it out until I'm actually down in Albany. So I'll probably put it out sometime over the weekend. I had a couple of plans for what I wanted to do, but whether or not I'll do them or I'll just do something else entirely, it will depend on how I feel. Probably tomorrow night when I'm hoping to record. So.
And Sam, what about and I think we said this before, Sam has got a ridiculously undersubscribed channel. So what I might do, I think, Sam, you're you can chuck the link in, I think, can't you?
Possibly, if I was organised.
Well, I'll make sure the link's in the video at least anyway. So it was in the chat earlier. So Sam, tell us about your channel while I find the link. So what do you got coming
We
up?
want him to get
I've got
50.
the link. It's all good. So
Give him
so obviously I am a Pentecostal, ex-evangelical, atheist YouTuber. I've been doing this for about 6 weeks now, and I've been putting out just videos around Christianity specifically, and I'm hoping to expand a little bit out from that type of content. At least I want it to be similar to, but not all the same. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing videos on one thing I've sort of got bumping around in my head is talking about how much I was convinced when I did believe, because obviously that's a big thing with atheists, is that you're never truly a Christian. I want to talk a little bit about having a disability and being a Christian and having people pray for you to be healed all the time. So something that's not really obvious, particularly when I'm streaming, and except when I go like this, is that I've got extremely low vision, so I don't drive a car. I've got limited options when it comes to work, all this sort of stuff. And that was a big thing when I was a Christian, about praying for healing and God's going to change that and all this sort of garbage. And yeah, I also want to play around with maybe some game content. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm a bit of a gamer, but I'm playing around with an idea of looking for Christian games on Steam. I found one, Left Behind 4, which, if you've ever heard of this old fiction series based on the tribulation, apparently there's a video game. I've got no idea what it's like, but I want to try and find that. And,
Isn't there one coming out soon where you go around?
Jesus.
Oh, yes.
So that's what gave me the idea originally. And I thought, well, that game's coming out at some point. Let's start playing with the format and going from there. So I want to see, like, I know there's some really old hokey PC games back from like the year 2000 when I was a Christian. But yeah, I want to play in that space a little bit and just try and get a bit more variety of content and stuff, and maybe do some more live streams and stuff. And yeah, so I'm at Vagrant Sam on Twitter and Vagrant Sam on YouTube.
And I've just put the link in. Sorry, Jen.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys. How common is the concept of being an anti-vaxxer within?
I never came across it in my.
Never encountered it.
No.
Yeah.
No, never at all.
I am
so
vaccinated.
that definitely seems to be an element of stuff more so in the US than we experience here in Australia.
If I was to hypothesize, it is just there's possibly a link in terms of if you're willing to believe God based on the evidence, you might be more willing to believe anti-vax crap based on the evidence as well.
Well, that's
the
the same
only
with any
potential link.
conspiracy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like,
let's face it. If
feel bad 'cause it sounds like I'm saying
you're very
theist, but yeah, that's not my
fundamentalist,
intent.
you're basically it's almost like being a conspiracy theorist.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, it is at that point. So your chances of starting thinking like the government's against you or big pharma's out to get you or whatever else is a lot bigger than the average person.
But yeah,
something
definitely not biblical or anything like that. So
if you ever get the chance, Sam, and you want a really good game, the Bible game on the PlayStation, or it might have been PS2. My brothers actually gave that to me as a joke once, and it is quite literally the worst game you could ever play. But anyway, it is what it is. Now, Sam, you're up to 44 subs, so we've gotten you another two while we're here. So anyone who hasn't subscribed, I've put the link in a couple of times now. Just click it, subscribe. You're not going to be disappointed because the content is really, really good. So definitely encourage everyone to jump on. Nervardia, what have you got in the works?
For me, I am currently frozen and kind of stoned apparently as well. As I said, I've got a video that I recorded yesterday on the ever lovely Laurie Alexander. And also I have, now that I've got this thing that is very exciting, I'm going to hopefully get my a video about anti-vaxxers and thimerosal. I've already done this video before on my science channel, but it's really shit. You can't hear what I'm saying. I had my old camera, so you can't. It's, I've completely changed everything, but it's such an important video to do. I kind of need to do it again and put it up and running. So I'm going to re-record that one sometime during this week. So yes.
Cool. So Sam, you're at 47 subs now.
Ooh. Ooh.
This is jumping. So hang on, we could get 50 by the end of the stream. Hey,
yeah, everyone. Yeah.
Like the wrong button.
So that's good.
If I stop doing all these live
guys,
streams, I can work on my channel too, right?
Tweet out to your peeps
has just thrown in. So if I reckon probably everyone here in this stream would be subscribed to Nervardia, but if you're not, what the hell are you doing? Because you're missing some insanely good content. Nervardia
amazing.
is sensational stuff as far as getting it out there for Aussie content creators. And I know it was I sort of made the decision to do this after coming across your stuff, Nervardia. So it's inspiring content. So keep it coming, and everyone subscribe.
Thank you. That really means a lot to me, mate. That really does. That really.
We love you.
I love you too.
And of course, there's Jen. We want to get Jen to 333, so she's half a devil.
Yeah. I should have probably saved it till then to do my celebration stream, but I didn't think of it.
Hey, any
Well,
excuse for
Hey,
parties,
I've got one new one whilst we've been doing this. So thanks, Chris.
Oh, that's good. It's all happening, all happening. Now, as far as what I've got coming up, so this Friday night, so for those who haven't seen it before, every Friday night we do Friday Night Six Pack, which is where we get a few different people in. We talk about a different topic every week while we all have a drink, and we start off pretty good, but once we get to hour 2 and 3, it starts to get really interesting. So I probably should do some highlights reels at some point, but...
Miro, are both you and Notcher up for next Friday?
I work every Friday night, finishing at 9 o'clock, which is basically when you start. So I might go skip or come in like an hour late or something like that. Which
Well, in that case, what we might do, so we're not having to rotate us again, is because I will be there, but I'll be with friends. I might stay in until you're ready to come in, and then I'll swap out so you can come in.
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll be there long enough just to give each other shit, and then I can take off and spend time with my friends and that. So,
sounds good.
Yeah, I think that'll make Chris's life easier.
Don't worry about it. It was good. I didn't mind doing the rotate because that way I could go and top up my drink and no one noticed. It was great.
Yeah, well, actually, I really like that too as well.
It was handy. I'll agree that.
So I think we want to have at least a constant 7 in there. So this Friday night we're going to be talking about atheists and Christmas because an interesting comment was made to my daughter at school where someone told her that she shouldn't celebrate Christmas because she doesn't believe in Jesus. And I've heard that a few times from people, and I thought, well, let's talk about it.
That's right, because you actually tweeted that out, didn't you? What was a good response when somebody says
Possibly.
that? What response could you give your daughter to tell them? And you said, no, we celebrate Isaac Newton's birthday.
Oh, that's true. That's a good one.
Yeah.
By the way, everyone, I have 1,291 subs. So it would be really cool if I could wake up tomorrow with 1,300 subs. 1,300 would be really, really cool.
You are aware that basically all of our subs are your subs.
Well, you never know. You might have one or
there
two.
could be crossover.
Actually, that is probably true. I probably have a few you don't have because of the ones that came to me from Sir Sick. So
yeah. So I would like to ask to plug me on all of the socials.
Absolutely.
And just plug me, everyone. Plug me hard.
Sorry.
Yeah, Sam,
we need a double
48.
ender, Maro. We do.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. We do.
See, that'll be 50 by now, easy.
Got to get to 50. I mean, okay, if there's anyone in there who hasn't subscribed, just subscribe. Everyone just share a tweet out. I mean,
One Ring 42 wants to fight, and if we're both at 50, it'll be an even
I
fight.
actually think it's
55,
time for another follow an Australian tweet.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do a big long list of all of us and peg in some of the bigger Yankee guys to retweet it, like Godless Engineer and Shannon Q and that, so that.
Yeah.
I did try and bait Vice Rhino, but I didn't get anything, so we'll try someone else next time.
You can start this one, Mary, because I started the last one.
All right. Oh, by the way, with Vice Rhino's thing in which we all kind of pitched in, like the PayPal thing.
Yes.
Atheist War on Christmas. You know how there was like a whole string of people donating weird numbers.
Yeah, like the couple of cents here and
Well, I started that.
Of course you did.
Yeah, that was me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see if we can get Vice Rhino in to talk about that on. Well, I guess it'll be probably early Friday morning, but I might flick a message and see how we go.
Oh, and speaking of which, of pools, yes, don't forget to do the one for Notcher because.
Oh yeah, do Notcher's fundraiser.
Yeah.
I've already donated, so yeah, he can wait.
And speaking of Notcher, if Notcher gets to 2,000 subs by the end of the year, which isn't that far off, we get a face reveal.
Yeah, you don't want it.
Yeah, but is he going to reveal his face or someone else's?
Who knows?
John Travolta?
Who knows?
Well, is Notcher real? That's the question.
Well, I would hope
I'm
so.
a bit worried that people are going to start realizing that we're all computer generated, considering what's happened to Marrow.
But just deep fakes.
Yeah.
All on those islands. Australia's not real anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, guys. Well, I might wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I know it was a bit of a last-minute stream, but it was just too good an opportunity to pass up. So thanks for jumping in, and I'll see everyone on Friday night where we'll have some Christmas drinks.
Yep. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Catch
See
you
you
all
guys
later.
next
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Don't check on Self-Stick.